Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by. So today I will be doing another gardening product review, and this is for Blue Planet Nutrients Early Bloomer. It is in the 32 fluid ounce jug or 1 quart. I hope you enjoyed my video. You can hit the like, subscribe, and of course the bell to be notified every single time I do upload a new video. All of my social media accounts are in the description section, as well as where you can get this. And of course, if I can find a discount code, or the cheapest would be always down linked in the description section. So to always check those out in my videos. So just knowledge here, because I just really I was having a really difficult time transitioning from Scott's Miracle-Gro fertilizer and different brands, aquatic fertilizer. What was it? What was the other ones? Schultz, Better Grow, and Epsoma. I forgot even the other ones that I've used. Those are not good for every single medium. And my plant collection has grown significantly. It is now, I think, I don't even know, but it's closer to 200 now, and not even counting like my propagation plants. So with that, I have different varieties of plants. I mean, these are foliage, and this can use like a bloom booster if I want to, because it can flower, but I don't really want to. This is a flowering plant, so I actually really do use this for that one. But majority of my plants, like over here, are foliage. Oh, I do have some flowering plants right there. So I was just doing my research about this company, and I was doing my research on how to transition. And I reached out to the company, and I was communicating with a person called Rob. Hi, Rob. And he explained it so thoroughly. If you're new to my channel, I do suffer from TBI or PCS. So sometimes a ton of information can really feel like I'm breaking my brain. And I did explain that to him, and I apologized, because there were just a ton of stuff that he was explaining to me, very technical, that it was hard for me to understand. I believe like accidents, it would have been easier for me to understand, but it was just kind of challenging for me at the moment. So basically, this is a supplement. It is not a fertilizer. This is a supplement for flowering plants. If you want your plants to have more buds, bigger buds, let's just say a branch would have 2 buds, right? This can help make it more than 2. And it can also help make the buds bigger. If it is a fruiting plant, it can encourage to make the fruit or the produce have a better flavor, sweeter, and things like that. If it is just a flowering plant and it doesn't really fruit, it can encourage just more buds, and also the color and the size can also be encouraged for that. I mean, like, it will be bigger, the color will be a little bit more vibrant, and it's just, this is more, it does help in the beginning stage of that. I did try this just in the beginning stage, and then I stopped, and I will explain what happened to my plants. I have also used this throughout from before I have seen any buds, to during buds, to blossoming, to have just flowers, to when it wilts, and the cycle goes back to 0. I have used this in every phase. I have used this in specific phases, and I will share that information. So, as I've said, this is usually being used a lot of times, especially if you are producing products like produce, or you want, if you're producing produce, this is encouraged to be stopped at a specific stage. And there is information, it's not here in the back, but there is information in on their website. So there is a specific week that you do stop. I think it's like week 1 when you see the buds, or when it starts to open up. I think that's when you stop using this, because it keeps encouraging to produce more buds, and it can encourage to prolong the blossoming of the buds. And a lot of people stopped adding this to their produce because some people want their buds and flowers to bloom and finish that stage so they can have the produce after. That makes sense? For me, I didn't really do that on certain plants, and I did that on certain plants as well. I did that for my outdoor plants. I also tested it with my indoor plants. So here's another thing. I use this for my outdoor plants, and it did encourage a ton of that. And for whatever reason, I forgot because I didn't document it. I'm sorry. At a certain point, I think I stopped using it on some of them, and then some of them I didn't. And the difference was significant. So when I kept doing that, it just kept producing. Even when it was fall, it just kept producing buds. And to a point that my husband was saying that the plant was toppling over because it was getting so heavy. So I would suggest, if you don't want that to happen to you, you might want to stop at a certain point and harvest them. And once you've harvested everything that you prefer, or you don't want it for the rest of the season, then stop using this, because this will just continue to encourage that. And what I've also noticed is that if you are using this to like houseplants, I'm also and still currently using this for houseplants. I'm actually using this for my orchids. What I've noticed in the first few months, I feel like it's trying to embed in deeper with the plant. I was experimenting it and, taking this off and changing certain things with my fertilizer, because I use Blue Planet fertilizer as well. If you haven't seen the review of that, it should be up here somewhere. Also, it should have popped up already, or it will be popping up. Or if not, just, look it up on my channel. So what I've noticed is that if I change my fertilizer for the part B, my flowers tend to bloom, my orchids tend to bloom in a shorter amount of time. I live in the Midwest, and so we don't really get a ton of light. What I have noticed, the longer I have used this, is even with a different fertilizer and bloom booster, I was always able to rebud my stalks for the second time. This is the first time that I've ever really been able to do a third phase of buds on the same stalk. First time ever. And I've also noticed that for using it for at least 6 months of continuous use, or maybe let's just say 3 months of consistent use of the same measurement, I have noticed that when they were blossoming and blooming, my last batch actually bloomed for 5 to 6 months. And a lot of people don't get that for their orchids. And the only thing that I changed was my fertilizer and my bloom boosters. I didn't change anything else. I still use the same bark. I still use the same system. I still use everything else the same. I didn't move them, nothing. I didn't give them extra light, nothing. So when people really ask me how I'm able to do that, I give them this. I give them the link to where you can get it. A lot of people, here's the thing, a lot of people really believe I have this magical green thumb and I'm just naturally great at it. I keep telling people I'm not. I really very good and organized and diligent and very specific and very detailed in regards to taking care of everything. I'm just very, very detailed. I've been told before, like if I did construction, if I did tiling, I would be amazing and people would just like do this with their money for me because I am so specific and insane about it that even though legally that there is a leeway of like a quarter to an inch of something to be a little crooked, I can't sleep with that. It has to be perfect for me. So I apply that with everything that I really do. And I think that's why I'm a really good baker, because baking is very precise. You have to be perfect in every single part of it, because if not, it will flop. And sometimes when you're using yeast and baking bread, it can still flop regardless of how precise you are. But anyway, going back to gardening. So I always tell them, get this. And a lot of people just don't want to believe it. And sometimes people just don't want to shell out a certain amount of money, but you have to understand, I only use 5 ml or 1 teaspoon per gallon, and it works for me. It says here to apply a plant rate of 5 to 10 ml. I only use 5 ml or 1 teaspoon. I have used more. I didn't really see a big difference, and I don't know, maybe I'll switch it up again and see if there is something else. But for me, I'm content in using just the 1 teaspoon. I think I've only bought this the one time and I'm almost out. I use a different container as well, because when you use this, it spills a lot with this container. So I take that back. I actually just repurchased this. That's why I'm doing this, because I actually finished the jug now. I use a different container, a kind of a square shape, but it's obviously rectangular because it's 32 fluid ounces instead of this. It's just easier to grip for me. And so when I got this, I just pour it in there. It's a clean container, obviously. I pour it in there, and that's what I use to mix it with my gallon of water. I do pre-mix it because I have a ton of plants. I can go through, it depends on the day, but sometimes there are days that I go through like 3-4 gallons of water mixed with like this I have that many plants, you guys. So, I would say like the amount that I've used this, and I even used this in the summer, it took about probably almost a year to go through with this. Almost a year. So that's not really bad if you buy something like that. But just to consider, I do have between 150 to 200 houseplants. Yeah. And I have big plants like that. I have tiny plants like that, but you do use it at a certain point. If you just have like flowering plants, or you just want to use this outdoors, that's fine too. I feel like using this outdoors I think I would have gone through a gallon quicker if I lived in like California or Florida. If it's like warm out all year round, that would be a different story, but I don't. So we only have like a few months out of the year to do that. And I do have a ton of plants outdoors, and they're usually edible. I have grapes and blackberries. We used to have strawberries. They died. I do have like lilacs and a peach tree, I think. So those can really benefit from this because they are flowering plants. And I have noticed that when I do add this for my lilacs, I do have more flowers coming out, which are really, really beautiful. And I can't really compare this because I already got this before I got my lilacs. And when you go to a room, and I have like an open space kind of concept. So let's just say you're within like 500 square feet of where my lilac was, you can still smell it. So I think this is a part of that, because I have smelled lilacs before, fresh ones, and it wasn't really that potent. So if you are looking for something as a bloom booster, if you have flowering plants like orchids and Hoyas, I actually use this on my Hoyas as well. Orchids, Hoyas, bird of paradise. I haven't had any flowers or buds from my bird of paradise, and I was told it takes years. So I'm not really in a rush with that one, but my orchids are always blooming. My orchids produce a ton of buds. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen that I do even post just the buds, and it's, you know, I use this every time. If you are my you follow me on Facebook, or we're friends on Facebook, you probably have seen that too, or you've seen my vlogs. I use this every single time. So if you guys have any other questions, I think I have tried as much as possible to insert every single information that I can. Let me know down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys all the time. And again, if I don't respond within 24 hours, there's probably a lag in YouTube system and I didn't get it. But you can attest a lot of times, depending on how I have enough time to check it, I usually respond within a day, sometimes even quicker than that. So do, you know, leave your comment section. Leave your comments in the comment section. Never hesitate to do that. Any question is always welcomed. Just make sure you watch the entire video so that can be answered better, if that makes any sense, rather than later. Because some people actually assume that if one of my videos is like a year old or older, that I'm not going to respond. I will always respond. I will always respond, no matter what. If there are other products that you guys ask me about that I've tried or not tried, let me know down below in the comment section as well. If there's other products that you are curious and maybe I haven't tried it and maybe you want me to check out, let me know down in the comment section again. I love hearing from you guys all the time. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.